This is the Tammi Reiss Show on the Rhody Sports Network from Learfield. Tonight's show is brought to you by People's Credit Union, the official partner of URI Women's Athletics. Pizza Gourmet, Rhode Island's wood-grilled pizza crust, is a proud sponsor of URI Athletics. Dunkin' Donuts, sip the Rhody way. Rhode Island Medical Imaging, the official medical imaging company of URI Athletics. Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. Dave's Fresh Marketplace, better food, better service. Now, here's your host, Zach Austin.
Welcome to the Tammi Reiss Coaches Show. We're presented by the DiStefano Brothers Construction. We're also live on the Rhody Sports Network. We're here at DiStefano Brothers Construction, and it's a standing-only crowd right now. Standing room-only crowd in June. How about that? Great showing here.
This is the biggest crowd I've seen yet.
This is amazing.
Yeah, this is an amazing turnout. Thank you, everybody, for coming on this lovely day.
We want to thank the DiStefano Brothers Construction, where they add value to people's living spaces while delivering exceptional customer service. We also want to thank People's Credit Union, the official partner of URI Women's Athletics. We know you have a great story about how you and the DiStefano Brothers began business, and we'll get to that later on in the show, but I wanted to start off by saying, first of all, this crowd, we already talked about how amazing it is. It's almost as if they're watching that Indiana Fever Connecticut Sun game from last night. That was quite something.
I think we were all watching that game last night. The WNBA is just incredible, but more importantly, I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan. Obviously, she's my favorite player, but the game, just the spiciness of the game, the competitiveness. It's at an all-time high, and the level of play is incredible. And so it's amazing how many women's basketball fans there are now in the country, and not just locally, you Rhode Island fans, but the pro game now, and it's kind of expanded, and a lot of people here love the Connecticut Sun, they love the New York Liberty, they love the Indiana Fever, so it's just great for women's basketball. I'm just so excited of where our game's going, not just collegiately, but in the pro game as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and I know you like to take your team to a Connecticut Sun game every year, so great to see that, of course. And of course, we're talking to the head coach, Tammi Reiss, and there's so much to get to between off-season additions and some of maybe the bigger topics in college sports and in college basketball. But I just wanted to start off the beginning of the show quick by putting a bow on last year. A tough start to the season, certainly a 17-16 finish, but a 10-5 record at home, fifth place finish in the A-10. Any final thoughts maybe on this past season and obviously some of the graduating seniors and other key contributors who are now moving on?
Every year we do a recap as a coaching staff, and you do a lot of reflection. I do personally, and although there were a lot of highs and a lot of lows last year, I think the one thing we took away, and this is every coach, a lot of our players, because we have player meetings with every player, and it wasn't so much the win-losses, whether we were frustrated with not winning a championship or not getting to the postseason, but it was more of the feeling during the season. And I think the overall feeling for coaches and the players was it just wasn't fun. It wasn't. And for me, I think first and foremost, I was exhausted from 3 years of not having a break. Every summer, USA Basketball, the Olympics took a lot out of me. So when I'm in those situations of frustration or not winning or, there were times where I wasn't me. I didn't have my energy. I couldn't keep things light. I couldn't keep things fun. And I think it starts with me. So it's a direct reflection of your leadership. And so really reflecting on, we've got to be better. And a big theme was not just us as coaches, but the players we recruit to this culture. We're looking for a certain type of player and a big personality. Kids who are connectors, kids who like to have fun, kids which you're going to see play with a passion. So that was when we recapped and moving forward, the non-negotiable is we're going to create an environment, a supportive, positive environment, and really enjoy the process again. I think it's what we did our first 4 years, and once we won that championship, I think things changed a little bit, and we have to get back to that. And it's not so much, again, the wins and losses, but I want our student athletes to enjoy their time here and the process and help them get to where they want to go, and that's a lot of them become professionals. So the recap of the season was that. We're going to refocus and rebrand and really come back better, and especially make it our mission and our goal to give the student athletes the best and hopefully 4 years of their life and their career. And to put a bow and a cap on it, today we got really, really great news. Honey got her professional offer from Greece. And so we're waiting to hear, going through logistics with her agent, but waiting to hear if she signs that offer. But it's a great offer, beautiful country. And then Sophie Phillips and her sister Lily got offers from Germany in the same country on the same team. So, you know, and as a coach, I think our coaching staff was so happy for them. But that's their ultimate goal, is to go pro and get to play as a professional years and years. And so, you know, it's always makes me proud as a coach, and our coaching staff and administration felt the same way today. But that was a beautiful thing to get the text from both girls like, Coach, we've got our offers. And so it's, you know, that caps our seniors really getting them to where they want to be.
That's amazing. And again, congratulations to Honey and Sophie for those amazing professional opportunities. Certainly, Rhody Nation will be rooting for you both overseas. And, you know, you talk a lot about having fun, you know, this coming season. And you also obviously talking about getting your players professionally where they want to go. That was a key theme, one of many, with the new big three that you brought in this season in the transfer portal: Brooklyn Gray, Aviana, Habib, and Valentino Ojeda, all from the A-10 as well. Let's go through them one by one here and share with Rhody Nation what they're going to bring to the table. Brooklyn Gray last year was St. Louis's leading scorer. She was electric, especially late in games. What do you like about her game?
Brooklyn she can do it all. And the one thing that we lacked a lot this year was we didn't have a player that could just create their shot at any time. Not just create their own shot, but be able to pass and play make at a high level. And Brooklyn, when she played us, and I don't know, a lot of fans watched both games, no matter who guarded, she could take anybody, and she did take us to the cleaner every time. First game at home, we won, thank God, but fourth quarter, I think she scored 12 straight points, and we put AD on her, who was all defensive team, smoked her, put Honey on her, smoked her, put Awa on her, smoked her. And so I recruit in the A-10 because I know what they can do in conference. I've watched her for years now and appreciated her game. But Brooklyn is the all-round, I can do anything. Her passing ability is incredible. So when we're also changing our offense this year a lot. So we're running a lot more motion, a lot more open concepts, not ball screen. And you know, I don't want to score 45 points anymore, for the love of God. I want to score in the 70s, 80s. We're going to still play fast, but we're also going to run more of a motion. Everyone touches the ball. Everyone moves. Everyone cuts. So it's a beautiful brand of basketball. There'll be DHOs and ball screens and all that within it, but Brooklyn fits that system. She can play all 5 positions, and we can play small in the motion. So she can play in the pinch. She can play on the perimeter. She is the glue. And, again, she was very sought after, and we are very blessed that we actually ended up with her, and we were able to get her because everyone and their mother wanted her. Goal for Brooklyn is to be all conference, wants to vie, first team, wants to vie for player of the year, and she wants to be developed to be a pro. She's currently here this summer, and we're working with her 2-a-days in the gym. She's here both sessions with us to get acclimated, and the kid just works. And again, big, fun personality, and electric on the court. Really, really fun to watch. So you're going to enjoy, we call her BG, so you're really going to enjoy Brooklyn. She'll be a fan favorite.
Very excited to see Brooklyn and the other additions play. And something that is another common thread of these transfers that you got is they all have playoff and many of them championship experience with their old clubs, including Aviana Habib, who just won the Atlantic 10 title with George Mason. She's someone that has a great high tempo as well. She can shoot. And you also like her game on the boards, especially offensively. And you think that she can break out this year?
You know, Tavi, 2 years ago with George Mason, she averaged almost 11 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. She's a high-level three-point shooter, and not just catch and shoot. She can sidestep three, off the bounce, behind ball screens. We had to add shooting to run a motion offense. So Brooklyn can shoot the three. Tavi is a 40% three-point shooter, a high level. She also is a great offensive rebounder and defensive rebounder. So when you lose someone like Awa and AD, and you're starting to replace them, you can't just replace, obviously they weren't great shooters or great scorers. Tavi can really score, but we needed to be able to replace the defensive component of both of them and also the rebounding. And Tavi's just an electric rebounder. And so, those two aspects, great scorer, phenomenal three-point shooter, and then plays in transition really well, and then can offensive rebound. So she kind of brings that total package that we lost with Awa and AD a little bit.
And Awa, obviously, ironically, going to George Mason almost like a trade. And
we traded.
That's the world of college sports now. And then the last transfer that you picked up, Valentino Ojeda from VCU, another player who can stretch the floor and shoot. And not only did you get to watch her in A10 play, but you also got to see a little bit of her in the 3x3 game, which I found really interesting.
I've watched Val play 3x3 for 3 years now. So not just I watched her at VCU, but I've also watched her overseas and what she can really do. And Val shoots over 40%. She, too, can stretch the floor and really can play a motion concept. So when we were putting together our offense and really putting the pieces together, knowing her and her ability to read and react, she is just such a smart basketball player. And so, again, Val is overseas. She made both national teams for Chile. She made her 5-on-5 team, so she'll be playing in the Eurobasket. She also made her 3x3 national team. So she's playing all summer, both leagues. And so she'll be well-versed. She's probably going to come back a little bit tired, but she's the one player that won't be here in summer school because she made both her national teams. So, and again, fifth-year senior. All three are fifth-year seniors with great experience in league. I've watched them all now for years. The last time we recruited three players in league, same year, Cece Lassiter, Madison Haddocks Covington, and Emma Squires, we won league. And all, Cece actually came from out of league, but the other two came from in league. We won league, and they were big reasons. But I knew what they could do and what they can do in the A10. For these three, they're great experience. I know what they can bring to the table, and I've watched them long enough, our coaching staff. We know what they can do. We're not gambling and taking a kid that hasn't played from the Pac-12 or the SEC that I have really no idea if they can translate. These three kids can translate. They've done it.
Yeah, and that's great news for Val, and rooting for her with her national teams. And another thing you talked about with her is her leadership ability as well, and that's something you always want from your fifth-year seniors. All three of these players as well, the JUCO roots, which is not something we've seen a lot from previous recruiting classes of yours. Is that something specifically you were looking for? Was that more of a happy coincidence with all three of their backgrounds coming up through the A10?
It's funny normally we very rarely ever recruit from JUCO, but their routes they went JUCO first and then came into the league, and so it just so happened they all went the JUCO route. And some players need that, and others don't, but that's a happy coincidence that all three of them had the JUCO route and all three were in the A10.
Yeah, and another thing that really stood out to me, too, is obviously 3 in-conference transfers going to URI, Awa leaving. That's 4 total in the conference. There were 7 this year in A10 women's basketball that went from one A10 team to another. I think the last 2 years there maybe was 3. How is this becoming a trend maybe in the new world of college basketball? What's making these transfers want to stay in conference? And I guess for your program in particular, what makes URI so attractive in being that destination for a lot of them?
It's funny. When I first talked to them on the phone and called them, initially they didn't want to stay in conference. Like BG was like, Coach, I actually said, no, I'm not staying in conference. And then my mother and my AAU coach said, well, what coach do you think would call you from conference? And BG said, Coach Reiss, because in the handshake line, she would always go, God dang, BG, you be killing us. Like, I love your game. You know, listen, I go through that handshake line, and I make sure those good players know I love them. You're always recruiting. But, and, you know, I just connected with her very, very quickly. And, you know, her goals and alignment for this last year, I may have not told her all the things she wanted to hear, because BG, I'm like, you got to get in shape. We got to get you. If you want to be a pro, you got to do A, B, and C. And then when she looked at our track record where all our kids play, and we do a pro sheet, like we give them a book. When we meet, we watch film with them. And when they open that pro book and they go, Coach, you and your coaching staff have put 150 kids in the pros. And Emily Ansler and Brittany Sykes and all these kids are playing WNBA that you've coached. And every country, your kids go pro. That's what she wants. And not just go pro. They get to go to the country they want, whether it's Italy, you know, Greece, France. And so our connections overseas with agents and with teams, we work that really well. Coach A has been over there in the beginning of the summer. He's been working every angle with all our agents, all our teams. And so a lot of times we kind of brought him back. Tavi was the same way. She wasn't going to come in conference, and once she met and we got talking, and you got to build a relationship very quickly, because the portal opens during the season. Some teams are still playing, and the kids within a week they can make a decision. So you're on the phone with them every night. You're getting them on campus. You're doing your official visit, and it happens quick. That's why I like recruiting kids I've already seen play. I know. But building that relationship, they actually flipped and then actually came in conference. Val, it didn't matter. Val's like, I just want to win and I want to be developed. And can we do those two things? And so that's how it happened. But I don't think it's a trend. I think it's who you vibe with, who you connect with, and do you have, especially for 1 year, what they want. And can you get them what they want and where they want to go? And I think they found a home. They thought, this is the place I can do it.
Yeah, no question. It sounds to me, if you've got a good sell in the handshake line, you're in good shape come portal season. I wanted to touch briefly as well on the two incoming freshmen on the roster now that are coming in, both from Maryland, Maury Jarrett and Vanessa Harris. Both were McDonald's All-American nominees. What do you like about their game? I know before on prior shows you've talked about their explosiveness and their athleticism and what they bring to the table.
We'll start with Amori, who's here, who stayed in summer school, came first session as a freshman. She hurt her knee in high school, so she's rehabbing. She should be back in July. It's not ACL or MCL. It's more of the back, the PCL. But Amori is a pure three-point shooter. She shot 45% in the club circuit. She was in the top 5 of AAU. So she can really shoot the three, and she can really attack the basket. And so love Amori Jarrett in that respect. And then Vanessa Harris plays on one of the top high school teams in the nation. I think they were in the top 5 the whole season, Bishop McNamara. She plays with, all of them are going D1. She plays with great players. She understands how to play, and she plays in a motion system. She can do it all. She can shoot it. She can create. She can pass. And so both are very athletic, and both can score. And again, you'll hear a constant theme. Can you dribble, pass, and shoot? And you got to be able to shoot the basketball, and you got to be able to score, whether it's right and left-hand layups, whether it's foul shooting, whether it's the three. I know we were the number 1 defensive team last year in the league, but that style of play, and I love our kids. God love us. We defend and we rebound. But to put 45 points on the board, that no one wants to watch that kind of basketball. You don't. You want an electric style that people that can put the ball and score. And so we've been very didactic in really being able to shoot the ball. And the year we won the championship, at every position, we could shoot the three. At every position and their backup. And so we could spread the floor. It opened up our inside game. Poor Honey this year, she got triple teamed because we couldn't shoot the ball. And so it was she would have averaged 24, 25. She would have been like my A had we been able to shoot the ball. And that's not my team's fault. That's my fault. That's my coaching staff's fault. We have to get the right pieces and put the puzzle together. And those 2 freshmen are the right pieces. And so how we're recruiting now is to a system. And hopefully you can get the kids. Now, there are some years where you miss and you can't sign. So you take what you can get, and it doesn't always work out. But this year we have the shooting that we wanted, and especially we recruited it. And so that's what those two freshmen bring. And again, they're freshmen. And the other thing is this year is, as a coach and my coaching staff, we're going to be a little bit more patient with our freshmen and hopefully give them a little bit more time. Like, you can't play 12 or 15 kids. You can't. But you can play 9 or 10. But if a freshman gets 12, 15 minutes a game, that's a lot as a freshman. It really is. And so having the patience of letting them play through some mistakes and giving them time so they stay. I want retention. I want them to stay. And then there are two secrets that there was a question coming through. They asked about, we're a little scared about post depth, coach. What do you got coming? And, we have two posts from Europe, both 6'3", one beast down low. The other can float and shoot the three and play inside out, three-point shooter. And so I really don't release their names yet because we're waiting for the visas to pass and their final acceptance into school. But, the NCAA have cleared them. They've got all that. So those are our two final pieces. So, you got 6'6" in Albina. You got Palmier, who will play a little bit of 3 and 4. And you got these two posts. And then you also have Brooklyn, who can play 1 through 5. And so you've got versatility now. When we're playing our motion, there is no position. It's positionless basketball. So when you watch Richmond play, who won the league, and you watch their 4-player, 5, Maggie Dugan, bring the ball up and play in the pinch, play on the perimeter, it doesn't matter. If you can shoot the ball, dribble the ball, and pass the ball, it's positionless basketball. So we're trying to transition to that. So in this offseason, our acquisitions and the people we've recruited and our freshmen and our transfers, they're all fitting in that puzzle of where we want to go and take our offense especially.
Yeah, and, that kind of, you're reading my mind. These shows are going so well. That was my next question in terms of, the roster now at 11. It's going to be at 13, a little more balanced. That will certainly balance the depth in the front court, but again, more coming, which is exciting, of course. A few more questions just to round out the roster for next year as it stands now. Tyler Louder, who came as the video coordinator last year, he has a new title, Director of Player Development. Talk about his expanded role this coming season with the team.
Well, every coach, every assistant coach, or, personnel that works for you, support staff, they want growth. No coach, very rarely, very few coaches other than Lisa Boyer and the UConn assistant, Chris, want to stay and just be assistant coaches. Usually you want to become a head coach or you want to grow. And so Tyler really wants to be a coach. And so he does video and he's great at his job, but now it's the growth of letting him start to work the girls out, learning, he's at every workout with us. So when I'm running workouts with Sophie V and Inez at the point guard spot, Tyler's there. And so if I can't be there tomorrow, Tyler, our workout, do Villanova shooting, we want. And so he's learning how to run workouts, our terminology, our offense. And so eventually Tyler's going to be an assistant coach, and that's growth. And so Director of Player Personnel he runs a lot of our workout stuff now. So when we're on the road recruiting, the girls can call up Tyler, get in the gym. He knows exactly what we're doing. And so his end goal is he wants to be an assistant coach.
That's great to hear, and no doubt Tyler working hard to get to that spot. And Chantel Blagrove, who unfortunately missed the last few years with injuries, not on the roster anymore, but appears to still be with the program more behind the scenes. Talk about her new role as a project manager intern.
This happens, and you never want to see it happen to an athlete, but Shan, her senior year, blew her knee out before she committed to us, and I still took the commitment. Everyone else left her. And, she came in, and she was a great athlete. So she started rehabbing, was coming back, and then she blew it out again. And so, this is going on. This will be her senior year this year. She's never played a game. She's never gotten through a whole season. But the knee, it's just not there, and nor will it be. And so, really, we medically DQ'd her. But now she's still working with our team, and now we're preparing her for life after basketball, which is huge for an athlete. Number one, to cope with, I'm no longer a basketball player. But Shan's been really good. CB's been really good with, this is what I want do. This is my route. So now we've worked with her dean in her college of she'll be an intern with us and start to develop all the different things and get her ready working with our program for life after basketball. So when she's ready to go get her job, she has her internship done and she'll be doing it with us. And so keep her around the team, keep her with the girls. She's still part of our team. She's just no longer an athlete.
Yeah, and that's amazing that's an opportunity that she has with this program after being around every day the last few years, being there even with those injuries. So that's, of course, great to see. I also wanted to ask about MK Chiwaba, who got her very early into the year last year, season-ending injury. How's her progress stand here heading into the summer from what you know?
MK tore ACL in November. She was getting very good playing time. In fact, she was probably going to play about 10, 12 minutes a game as a freshman. Really big, strong post. And she's now running. She's jumping. And so they said by the end of July, beginning of August, she'll be doing court work. And then hopefully by November, she'll be ready for full contact. So in 1 year after the injury, she should be ready to play this year. So MK is probably going to be cleared, barring we keep her on course. But our athletic training department, our university orthopedic, 3 days a week, works tremendous with her. And then Jamie, our strength and conditioning coach, and MK's in there 2 a days. She looks great. And so hopefully we'll get her back in November. And that's another post player that will be back on the roster. She got her year back, so she still has 3 years.
Excellent. Very, very good news for MK there, and looking forward to watching her play this coming season. And before we get to the halfway point of our show, it might be a bit early for this. Every year it seems like there's one player that you have focused on as a breakout player for you guys, ready to take that next step. And I know you haven't quite seen everybody yet this summer, but is there a breakout player that you have in mind coming up this year?
There's probably two, and I'm working with them every day, so I see them every day. But the one I'm most impressed with is Inez. The number one, her body, the work she's putting in from a nutrition standpoint. And I met with Inez after the season, and I asked her because she was going home, and I asked her to stay because I wanted to work with her, and we went over what's going to make her be first team all conference. What's going to make her one of the best point guards in the league? What's going to make her a best pro? And when we started talking nutrition and just everything, she's the one kid. I can't. She texts me every day, Coach, ready, 8:15 tomorrow. Coach, how about this? How about nutritionalist meant she's lost her body composition now is incredible. Her speed, her power. And just in the 4 weeks we've worked, her finishing series, meaning finishing at the basket, she's on balance. She looks like a little Jalen Brunson now from the New York Knicks. But the work we're putting in with her threes, I mean, the kid is just doing, it's like 4 a days, whether it's 2 a days with Jamie and strength and conditioning, 2 a days with us, not just our practice, but then another 45 minutes to an hour with me or whatever coach is available. She, I think, is going to have a huge breakout season, especially the way she shoots the ball and scores. Her passing is her passing. But right close behind her and with her is Sophie V, who's also stayed this summer. And they're competing head-to-head every day. And Sophie V's healthy now. I don't know if any of you knew, Sophie V was extremely sick during the season. And she got very small, very skinny, and I mean sick. I don't even know as a coach if I could have played dealing with what she was dealing with, which is Crohn's disease or, battling. And so now she's got her treatment. She's much healthier. And now she's exploded her power, and again, she's living in the gym, but she's back to, so she's put her 10 pounds back on. And so those two players, especially at the point guard position for me, which is the most important position on the floor, I think they're both going to elevate their game to a whole nother level because they can shoot the ball now. And so that I cannot wait for them to have the season they're going to have because they're working their tails off.
I always love asking you about this story because you got involved with DiStefano Brothers long before Rhody did, and it was a really great story. So for those who haven't heard, how did you and DiStefano Brothers, how did you guys meet?
Well, I think If you don't know me, I'm very OCD. Everything has to be in its right place. Everything has to be clean. I retie my shoes if I don't like the bunny ears aren't equal. I'm just very OCD. And so I had gotten a call from them and seeing if I'd be interested in possibly doing my garage. And when they came out and they put everything together, they did my floor first. For me, and it was great. But then when they were getting into the organized systems and they gave me a call and said, we'd love to do your space and work with you, it was for me a no-brainer because, again, walking out and there's spiders on something, and I'm like, oh, my God, there's dirt on that. I couldn't. And my garage literally looks like this, so I can rearrange any configuration. If I go buy a new bike and I want to hang it on my bike, I can move anything I want anywhere. Everything has its place. People, the one thing when I open my garage and they walk in to come into my house, they're like, oh, my God, really? This is your garage? And I'm like, yes, and I love it, And so now, once I have that done, the big thing now is my pantry. I go in there and it's the same thing. It's cluttered. There's things out of place. So Crystal and I are now like, designing. She knows what she wants. We've been on Pinterest. So the next project is going to be a nice brand new pantry. So that's our closets from East Greenwich. We're going to call our girl Alex and get on it, and that'll be our next project in the house. But, I've been so happy with the product and the quality. Anything I need, they come out. If a runner, anything. And so once you find people that do great work, I don't know, it's really difficult in this day and age, whether it's an electrician or a plumber. But for me, who's going to do my laundry room and my pantry next? And it's DiStefano Brothers for sure. It's just been a great partnership for me.
Yeah, this is a great space that we're in tonight. Again, it looks just like a real garage and it looks nice and neat for those who are listening, and everyone here can attest to that.
The only thing now I hate my garage is I'm looking at that garage door and I'm going, God, that looks nice. I might have to get myself one of those. The windows, but that's a whole nother touch. But, I love them.
Yeah, this place certainly sells it, no question about it, and it's a great product, as you said. Hey, if Coach recommends it, it must be pretty good. Of course,
if you're OCD and you like it the way it is, that you definitely want an organized garage.
Of course, we're here with the head coach, Tammi Reiss, and so much to be excited about with the team. We talked about the new additions on the last half of the show. I also wanted to bring up before it was too late the team GPA in the spring, 3.47, another impressive year for your squad in the classroom.
And again, you want them to be great students first, athletes, and then a healthy social life. But, even amongst, because when kids are transferring, you always worry about the spring semester because they miss a lot of school. They're going on visits, they're leaving. You think, are they really focused? And the one thing our kids did a great job with, even the ones that transferred, and they always focus on school, and they're very competitive in the classroom. So again, 3.47, and that's with kids that we have 2 engineers. They're not cookie cutter, majors. These are, 2 kinesiology, like 2 business. Like when you start to look at the majors they're in, they're really, really difficult majors, and I'm really, really proud of their performance in the classroom.
Yeah, always a great thing to see, and every semester it feels like they excel in the classroom. And another thing, too, you talked about being back on the recruiting trail this year after coaching 3x3 the last few years. And you also have your basketball camp coming up in July from the 21st to the 24th. It's for ages 7 to 17. And you've talked before about how great of a tool it is for young players, of course, recruiting-wise, but also just improving their game.
Well, I love camp because, you don't see it very often anymore. And in camp, you're supposed to, number one, overall, the young kids have a space to just have fun. Not just basketball, but socially, make friends, have a good time, fall in love with the game. Where AAU, it's very competitive. The second thing about camp that I love is you actually teach them skills. How to dribble, how to pass, how to make a layup, how to form shoot, where, again, they don't get very often. And then lastly, they get to compete, and we play a lot of games. But camp's my favorite 4 days of the year. I love it. All our players work camp, and so letting the young girls have time to spend with their role models, their athletes, and I love having community come in and you'll see all the girls at our games, which again, and some of our players go to the campers games. Like they'll be like, calling them. They have their text, they have their number. We have a game tonight. Will you guys come? And that is, our girls love it. And some of our girls, like, I think the best coach of all time for me was Awa with the little kids. She will be a great mother. The kids loved her. She was fantastic. Sophie P. was fantastic. So, it's just a great time to give back to the community and spend time and let little girls look at the possibility of what they can become and what they can do.
Yeah, Tammi Reiss basketball camp coming up in July. If you have a kid that loves playing basketball, that's the place to be. No question about it. We've talked about throughout the show all these big kind of topics in college basketball, not just in the space of URI, and one of them is the house settlement, the revenue sharing with NIL. And for the most part, it looks like every team in the A-10 is either officially opted in or has indicated that they will opt in. From your knowledge, what is Rhode Island's decision when it comes to the house settlement, and how does it benefit your program?
Well, obviously, we've opted in. So now it's very confusing. People think, we don't need a collective anymore, because if you opt in, your school actually pays the athlete from your school. So funds that we get, so whether it's revenue sharing, whether they get money from the state for something, or TV contract or whatever comes in, they can allocate for NIL for different programs. But also we have the ability to fundraise and put it in. So, for example, my booster account or an NIL account, I've gone out and I've fundraised a lot. Where last year we had $0. We had some money, but we had none when we needed it to go get players. In the beginning last year when the portal opened, I remember we had a radio show and we talked about it, where we didn't have any, and we had to navigate through that. Well, this year that was not the case. We were ready, and we fundraised, and we got money. And so once the house settlement passed, now we can actually pay players from our collective, from the school. So, for example, I can have a NIL booster account, and money can go into that, and that is what we use to then retain our players, which we did this year. Some of our players got NIL deals to keep them here. And then to go and get a player like Brooklyn Gray or Tavi or Ojeda, or maybe a top freshman. You then become a GM, a general manager, and you have to manage that money and put the deals together. The school has contracts. They put the payment plans together, and it goes right to the kids' accounts. So now, yes, we have money for NIL deals. It's why we got some of the better players. And also, it's makes it much easier than it was, say, last year for us. And so that's the reason we got some of the players we got, is we now have NIL funds. And so, a lot of people I talk to when I'm fundraising and I'm talking, I got into coaching because I want to coach a student athlete. And I also played professionally, and I had a pro contract, and that's when I got paid. But I played the game because I love the game. They gave me a scholarship, and at the time, that was enough. You're lucky you got a scholarship. At my time, it was like Title IX. Thank God I got a scholarship. And I'm very old school. And so, but you have to be fluid in the day and the times. Otherwise, you'll get left behind. Otherwise, you will. Do I agree with paying college players the exorbitant amount of money they're getting? No. I still believe in earning it. And I still believe players that perform in college have earned that. Real NIL deals, real money. But, I also have to be realistic. And you've got to meet halfway in order to be successful. It goes against my morality and my character and my value system. But it's the new college sports. It is. And it's the reality. And it's more like pro sports. My goal is, how can we keep the college feel, the we before the me, and the team, and still teach? I want to teach my girls on earning things and valuing what they have and all those things, and still a team sport. And you can do it. You see, OKC and who are they playing? Indiana.
Tyler's definitely happy that they got that far.
They're going to lose.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But you see how competitive. They're all on pro contracts, but they still have a goal to win the championships. They still play together. You see the WNBA teams. They're all on pro contracts. They're all different amounts of money. And people think, well, that'll ruin the team. Not if you have a good culture and you still teach the girls good value system and high character. And our girls get money, but I make sure they earn that. And the day they show up on the court and they don't play hard or compete or put a good product on the floor for our fans, believe you me, I let them know it. Because whenever you get more, comes great responsibility. And that's what we have to teach them. And so having that strong culture of, listen, you all are getting paid and you all have those things, but it's the we before the me. And you know, we have strong enough character kids, I think, here now that they understand that and they're going to play for each other. And so, you know, my job is to go out and collect talent and the right talent. But I am very happy we do have NIL now. And, you know, my goal is to fundraise for that. And so starting on Day of Giving next year in October, I'm going to kick the fundraising off. And this year, 25-26 is a 30-year anniversary of the one team, 85-86, that went to the NCAA tournament. The one team. So we're going to recognize that team throughout the year, but we're also going to make our fundraising for our, not just NIL, our booster account, MTE tournament scheduling, anything that can get us to go dancing again. So we're calling it the 10 for 30. So I'm going to donate $10,000, and I'm looking for 20 boosters or 20 people to match me and to celebrate the 30 years. And our theme is, let's go dancing again. And so that's our goal. And we're going to kick it off on the Day of Giving, and I'm going to be the first one to throw the 10 grand in the pot. Now, you don't have to give 10 grand. You can give any amount you want, and you will be appreciated. But with the 10 grand comes, you get to coach a game on the sidelines with us. On the sidelines, on the court, in the game. You sit with us, you coach, you get the full polo, the zip up, you get everything. We're also having a special 10 for 30 club where at the end of the year, we have a special dinner honoring you with our team, with our coaching staff, and a lot of other perks. But I thought really trying to recreate the excitement of, you know, we got to get to the NCAA tournament. We got to go dancing and, you know, a way of fundraising. And so that's going to be our theme this year and our collective, you know, trying to gain that money and replenish our a good amount that when the time comes and the portal opens in April, we'll be ready to collect the best talent we possibly can. And so, yeah, that's our theme. But that's the house settlement, and we opted in, and it's been a good thing for us.
Never too early to start supporting the team. You don't have to wait till November. Day of Giving in October.
But I do want you to wait till the Day of Giving, because when we raise the most money, then you get more money from the school. You get a bonus. So I'm very competitive. Yes. I want to win. And last year, football, you know, they're having a tremendous season, Coach Flem, and so everyone's trying to fundraise. And really, that's how you make your program go. We're a state school. We don't have the best budgets. And so every coach works their tail off, Flem and Archie and me and rowing and, you know, everybody. And that's the special day. That's the day where we really support our programs. And we appreciate all of our fans, all of our boosters, everyone that gives to us. It's why we do our videos. It's why we take a full day to show everyone who donates to us. You know, it means something, whether it's $1 or whether it's, you know, $10,000. And we've had people give $100,000. And so, but everyone's special to us. And so, you know, that's the day that the athletic Day of Giving that we really want to go full throttle with our fundraising.
Day of Giving in October. Rhody Nation, you guys know what to do there. I wanted to move on as well to some of the new rule changes, especially the new challenge rule that's in place for women's basketball. Some differences from the men's side. You don't need a timeout to challenge a play, and also some rule adjustments to maybe limit the number of travels and fouls called. Just your thoughts on some of the new changes this year.
I love the challenge, especially that you won't burn a timeout. And so if at the end of the game, we've lost games I remember St. Louis at the N10 tournament in Delaware, and Sophie V got elbowed to the face. It should have been a flagrant foul, and it was not called. And they went to the monitor. I mean, there are things where you're going to have to challenge, and you can win, and you can lose a game if you don't. So I love the challenge, and we'll probably save it to the end of the game on a play that could cost us a game. But I love that rule. I'm not so big on, and this is why I feel like officials can't get better. Every year we keep flip-flopping rules. So we took away hand checking for freedom of movement to make the offensive game better, NBA just better. And now you're able to hand check again. And so really strong guards, I don't know if you've ever played, but a really smart, strong guard that can hot stove and give a good hand check really can disrupt your ability to blow by somebody or get to the basket, or because you can stand them up, especially really strong guards. And so subjectively, how is an official, my God, going to be able to call that? So sometimes you're going to call it, sometimes. So now, they're again, you can never get consistency with some rules. And so if we're going to get freedom of movement, don't put your hands on offense. Let us have freedom of movement. We're flip-flopping now. So that concerns me because I don't think the refs are strong enough to be able to subjectively, distinguish. Did she take away freedom of in-game pace? I don't think they are. But, the rule changes, they come every year. They try to grow our game. I'd like more changes where maybe they have officiating schools and they, like Stephanie White said, the game's growing. It's getting better. Our officiating must get better at all levels, high school, AAU, college, and pro. It cannot stay stagnant, but it's got to get better, and they have to be held accountable. And I don't know how that is. I know our players are held accountable. We take their playing time away. I know we're held accountable. We get fired when we don't win games. I see the same officials officiating over and over for 50 years, and some of them are god-awful. So do we have better education? But more importantly, can the leaders put rules in consistently that they can get better at? Don't flip-flop and change them every year. It's really, really difficult to get better. So that scares me a little bit. Just does.
Well, the good news is you mentioned before the pickup games that you're running on Friday. You don't have to worry about the officials for those. For those who don't know, talk about what these pickup games are all about. You've had some of your old alums come back. You've also had some Providence players stop by to play some of the pickup games. So what's that all about?
One of the things our kids, when I was growing up, and obviously I played in New York, so you go to the courts and we played outdoors, not in air-conditioned gyms, and lights went on, you played against guys, you would get runs. If you lost, you had to sit, so they were super competitive. Nowadays, kids get trainers and they do cone drills, and they just have lost the feel of the game. You got to play the game to feel the game. And so when you see players that really can play the game and you go, growing up, did you play with boys? I played a lot of pickup and I played with dudes. Caitlin Clark, or they get a feel for the game. They know how to play the game. And that's where our game has, I think, declined a little bit so I told our kids, and the European kids aren't used to playing pickup. They just aren't. And so I told our kids, listen, we're gonna team practice Monday through Thursday, but Fridays it's you guys. You got to organize pickup games. You got to play for at least an hour. So it started with, them, and then here come a couple football guys, and it started with like 4, and not just any 4. It was like the quarterback, AJ Pena. You got really good guys hooping, and then more football guys. I'd be working out in the weight room, like, Coach, how come you don't invite me to pick? I said, I don't run pickup. So next thing you know, last Friday, Say calls me, a bunch of Prov players want to come down, I want to play. They come. Now we have like 20 football guys coming in. I'm like, oh my God, we had like 35 people for pickup. So it's become like the hot thing, and I love it because it integrates the athletes. Our football team is so great. Those guys are great. And it starts to form bonds with different athletes, different players. I think Inez is really close with the quarterback for URI, and they are athletes in action together, and so that's how that all started. They started just bringing players in together to play pickup, and so I love it. and it's really helped our team playing against guys bigger, stronger, faster. It's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's, from the sounds of things with Devin Ferrell, maybe some of these other guys on the football team, it sounds like Archie might have to give him a call.
No, Devin
a lot
can
of talent out
Devin
there.
can play, and he can really play. And he's a great guy. But they take it easy on our girls. They don't beat them up too much. I think the center played last week. He's like 6'4", 280 or 300. And Honey was like, I'm not guarding him. I'm like, Honey, you got to guard him. You're the only one. So it's pretty funny.
Sounds like a great time, no question about it. And of course, it helps the team get better in the process, which is even better. As we head to the end of the show, and again, great crowd here at the DiStefano Brothers today. Standing room only. You wouldn't be able to tell it's June with the crowd that we have. And of course, so much excitement for 2025-26. So I wanted to leave the final word with you in terms of what you're most excited about with the team this coming year. Maybe any teases, whether it's schedule or anything else that you have for this team coming up.
I think the most excited thing about is, watching the collective new players integrate themselves, and their personalities have changed our team already. Brooklyn and Tavi are, they're very childish. They're very fun. They're very flippant, where our team was very tight and didn't know how to celebrate. Like when they hit a three, you're going to know they hit a three. They're going to chest bump all the way down the court. They may talk to the crowd. They got a little Caitlin Clark in them a little bit, which energizes the crowd. I mean, and she's a showman. She knows, how to engage a fan, and it's why people love her or hate her. She knows how to put on a show, and she gets everyone involved. That's the kind of atmosphere I want. And those kind of kids that have come in, it's loosened Inez up tremendously, where she's starting to act. Inez is funny. We met the other day. We went to breakfast, and Inez said, "Hey, Coach." I said, "How do you like the new girls?" She goes, "I love them." And I said, "Well, what have you learned from them?" And she said, I need a little bit more of them." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" She goes, "The way they approach the game, a little bit more fun. And number two, their wiggle, a little bit looser. A little bit of, the double cross and a little bit of wiggle. That's what we call that." And then she goes, "They need a little bit of me, a little discipline." And so it's really fun watching them kind of, interject their personalities. But it's a conscious decision that when we went out and got some people, we went out and got some personalities. And we got to be patient with them, because they like to have a lot of fun, and we needed that. But I'm most excited about that. And then number two, scheduling-wise, non-conference. Obviously, we're always excited to play great competition. So NC State at State, always excited to go down there, and they're going to be very good again this year. Rutgers at Rutgers, so it's close enough, another BCS school. And then Princeton wanted to cancel, and they did cancel on us. So they had left, and that's a net one game. That's like an important game from a rankings net standpoint to go to the tournament. And then they called us back, and so we got them back on the schedule, and they're at home as well. So every game with Princeton is a dogfight and a great game. So those are probably the three biggest games I'm most excited about to play this year. And I'm just really excited about, again, putting on a product. So, some of you sit behind the bench during games, and I'm giving you the authority. You're going to see a different Coach Reiss this year. So the authority to be like, "Coach, you need to take it down a little bit. You need to, put that smile on your face and get that joy back," because that's what we were missing this year. And that's our focus this year, is energize the Ryan Center, have that happy, positive vibe, a lot of joy, and really, again, put a great product on the floor that wins. We want to vie for an A-10 championship. And we want to go to the postseason. And for some of you, you go, "Well, why aren't you playing in the WNIT?" But, it's also our school decides if you're going to play. And that's like a third-tier tournament now. It's the NCAA. It's the WBIT, the Field of 32. That's all paid by the NCAA. The WNIT had about 12 or 15 teams that had losing records. Like, it's a tournament of everyone now. And our school and you got to pay for it, so it kills your budget. So if we pay for that, and now I don't have that money to go buy 2 or 3 players to be in the mix with, well, now you've got to be smart. And so we want the NCAA, the WBIT. That's our goal. It's always been our goal.
Great show tonight, Coach. Thanks as always for an amazing show. And again, you're the reason why this crowd shows up, and your team as well, the team that you and your staff coach. Just so much excitement for 2025-26. Again, thanks to the DiStefano Brothers for hosting. Great venue tonight for this show. And, of course, thanks to everyone that's listening on the Rhody Sports Network as well. We'll sign off the broadcast portion of our show. Again, thanks to everyone who listened. This is the Tammi Reiss Coaches Show from Learfield, presented by DiStefano Brothers Construction, live on the Rhody Sports Network.
This has been the Tammi Reiss Show. Tonight's show has been brought to you by People's Credit Union, the official partner of URI Women's Athletics. Dunkin' Donuts, sip the Rhody way. Rhode Island Medical Imaging, the official medical imaging company of URI Athletics. Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Rhody Sports Network.